The training yard of Forward Operating Base Artemis stretched across the rust-colored plains of Kepler 442b, a testament to humanity's relentless expansion into the cosmos. Sergeant Kasia Reeves stood at the edge of the firing range, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she observed the latest batch of recruits from the Feliner Coalition. Among them was Bryn, a cat cub barely past his second solar cycle, his silver-striped fur catching the alien sun's amber light. He was small even by Feliner standards, his ears twitching nervously as he gripped the plasma rifle that seemed almost as large as he was. The Feliner had joined the Terran Defense Initiative only 3 months prior, after their homeworld had been ravaged by the Krynith swarms. Proud warriors reduced to refugees, they had swallowed their considerable pride to accept human assistance. Now their cubs trained alongside human soldiers, learning the brutal calculus of survival in a galaxy that showed no mercy to the weak. Kasia had seen this pattern before. The initial enthusiasm, the fierce determination to prove themselves, followed inevitably by the crushing weight of reality. Combat training wasn't about honor or glory. It was about repetition, discipline, and the willingness to push through failure after failure until muscle memory replaced conscious thought. Bryn's turn came. He stepped to the firing line, his digitigrade legs trembling slightly as he raised the rifle. The other recruits, a mix of humans, Feliner, and even 2 hulking Crovar, watched in silence. The target stood 50 meters downrange, a simple silhouette that should have been child's play for anyone who'd completed basic weapons familiarization. The plasma rifle hummed to life. Bryn's claws extended involuntarily, a stress response his species couldn't fully control. He sighted down the barrel, his golden eyes narrowing with concentration, but he squeezed the trigger. The recoil hit him like a freight train. The rifle flew from his small hands, clattering onto the packed earth as Bryn stumbled backward, landing hard on his tail. The shot went wide, scorching nothing but empty air 3 meters left of the target. Laughter erupted from some of the human recruits. One of the Crovar snorted, a sound like grinding boulders. Even a few of Bryn's fellow Feliner looked away, embarrassment radiating from their flattened ears. Bryn sat there in the dirt, his chest heaving, his ears pressed flat against his skull. His tail wrapped around his legs, a defensive posture Kasia recognized as deep shame. The cub's eyes glistened with moisture, though Feliner biology prevented actual tears. His small frame shook not with fear, but with humiliation. This was the moment. The crucible where soldiers were either forged or broken. Kasia crossed the distance in 4 long strides. The laughter died instantly as her shadow fell across the small Feliner. She bent down, her knees protesting the movement, remnants of an injury from the Proxima Centauri campaign, and picked up the plasma rifle. Then she did something that made every recruit, regardless of species, hold their breath. She extended her other hand to Bryn. The cub looked up at her, confusion cutting through his shame. Humans, he'd been told, valued strength above all else. They were the apex predators of their world, the species that had clawed its way to the top of the food chain through sheer stubborn brutality. Why would this scarred warrior offer kindness to failure? Kasia's expression was unreadable, but her hand remained steady. "Up, soldier," she said, her voice carrying across the silent training yard. Bryn hesitated, then placed his small paw in her calloused palm. She pulled him to his feet with surprising gentleness, then pressed the rifle back into his hands. The weapon still felt impossibly heavy, impossibly unwieldy. "Sir, I can't," Bryn began, his translator implant struggling with the shame-thick quality of his native language. "You released your weapon," Kasia said, cutting him off. She moved behind him, adjusting his stance with practiced efficiency. "That's not failure. That's data. Your grip was too low. Your stance too narrow. Your breathing wasn't synchronized with the trigger squeeze." She positioned his paws correctly on the rifle, then used her boot to nudge his feet apart. "Wider stance. Lower your center of gravity. Humans learn to shoot by failing thousands of times. Tens of thousands. Some of us are still learning." Bryn's ears perked up slightly. "But humans are natural warriors. You conquered your world. You were natural survivors," Kasia corrected, her tone matter of fact. "There's a difference. We didn't conquer Earth because we were the strongest or the fastest or the ones with the sharpest claws." She tapped the side of her head. We conquered it because when we fell down, we got back up. When we failed, we tried again. When every instinct told us to run, we learned to stand our ground. She moved to stand beside him, her presence solid and reassuring. You know what humans used to hunt on Earth? Creatures that could run faster, bite harder, and had better natural weapons than we did. You know how we did it. Bryn shook his head, his golden eyes fixed on her face. We chased them until they collapsed from exhaustion. We threw rocks at them until we got better at throwing. We failed and failed and failed until failing taught us how to succeed. Cash's hand rested briefly on his shoulder, the touch professional but not unkind. Your people are warriors, Bryn. Natural predators. But even the greatest predator has to learn to use their weapons. She stepped back, giving him space. So try again, soldier. And if you fail this time, you'll try a third time, and a fourth, and a thousandth if that's what it takes. The training yard had gone completely silent. Even the wind across the rust plains seemed to hold its breath. Bryn adjusted his grip, remembering Cash's corrections. He widened his stance, feeling how it grounded him more firmly. He drew a breath, the way he'd seen human soldiers do, and let half of it out. The rifle felt slightly less foreign in his paws that he sighted the target, his tail no longer tucked but extended for balance. His claws retracted slightly, improving his grip. This time, he understood what was coming that he squeezed the trigger. The recoil slammed into him, but his wider stance held. The rifle jumped but stayed in his grip. And downrange, the target's left shoulder exploded in a shower of synthetic material, not a perfect shot, not even close to center mass, but a hit nonetheless. The training yard erupted, not in laughter this time, but in genuine applause. Humans cheered. Crovar bellowed approval. Bryn's fellow felloner yowled with pride, their tails lashing with excitement. Bryn stood there, the smoking rifle in his paws, his eyes wide with disbelief. He'd done it. He'd actually done it. Kasha nodded once, a small smile playing at the corner of her scarred mouth. Again, soldier. 20 more rounds. Let's make this consistent. As Bryn took his position for the next shot, his small chest swelling with newfound confidence, Kasha caught the eye of Lieutenant Morrow, her human second-in-command. The younger officer raised an eyebrow. Think he'll make it, Sarge? Morrow asked quietly. Kasha watched as Bryn fired again. Another hit, closer to center mass this time, and felt the familiar weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. These weren't just recruits. They were survivors who'd lost everything, clinging to hope and a rifle. He already has, she replied. He just needed to remember that falling down isn't the end. It's just the beginning of getting back up. That, after all, was the human way. And perhaps, in time, it would become the way of the galaxy.